driving a car and you're talking to a friend of yours and a light pops up on the dash. You don't take a hammer and hit a light. It's a signal, something's happening.
The greatest mindset shift that you can make is to say that when you're afraid, it's go time.
If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time.
Entspresso?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of Entspresso to help you start your day with confidence and believe in yourself more. So good morning, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, John Assaraf.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Self-talk is so critical. And so I'm consistently paying attention to how am I speaking to myself? Am I speaking to myself in a kind, motivating, empathetic, compassionate way? Or am I consistently self-deprecating and putting myself down? I used to think a lot, when I was younger, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not worthy. Those thoughts, and lots of fear of being embarrassed, fear of failure, fear of being ashamed. And I still have the thoughts every once in a while, especially when I'm setting new goals. Those come up, holy mackerel, they come up so freaking fast. Are you smart enough to achieve that? Are you good enough to achieve that? Even when I got into really diving deep into the brain science and even my new book, I was petrified to release my book. It took me 2 years to write it because now I'm entering another whole domain of neuroscience and neuropsychology with world-renowned experts that I've worked with for years. But now here I am putting myself out there with, hey, this is neuroscientifically correct. So I had to make sure that it was. But there was a lot of fear. But I understand what the emotion of fear is. It's a subconscious trigger that causes this feeling that I don't like. And it's a go signal for me, not a stop signal for me.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, fear is an emotion. Emotions are all triggered at the subconscious level. They release neurochemicals that causes a feeling. We are consciously aware of feelings that are triggered at the subconscious level. The feeling is the end point of the human experience in the physical body. And so when you have something in your brain that a neural network says, well, what if this book comes out and you fail? What if it's not good enough? What is scientifically not correct? What if? My brain's going to process that the same way as your brain and everybody else's brain because everybody's brain's the same. The mechanism of how the brain works, it's Einstein's brain, Hitler's brain, Genghis Khan's brain, Tom Bilyeu's brain, John Assaraf's brain, all the same functionality. So if you understand the mechanics of what's supposed to happen, then you say, okay, great, when I feel this, then what am I going to do? So I like to use an analogy of a car. You're driving a car and you're talking to a friend of yours and a light pops up on the dash. You don't take a hammer and hit a light. It's a signal, something's happening in the engine, in the trunk, in the tires, something's happening. Emotions and feelings aren't positive or negative. They're empowering or disempowering to varying degrees if you don't understand them.
The greatest mindset shift that you can make is to say that when you're afraid, it's go time. That when you're afraid of doing something, not because you're afraid of jumping out of a helicopter with no parachute, right? That's just stupid. But most of the things that we're afraid of are other people's judgments, other people's opinions. When you're afraid that that's not good enough of a reason anymore not to act, not anymore, not for you. That when you're afraid is go time. When you can make that switch, you make that switch. I'm afraid of this thing. I feel my heart beating like crazy. What are people gonna say about me? And you accept that that is a good enough reason for you not to act. You're reinforcing a pattern of smallness. You're reinforcing a pattern of not being good enough. You're reinforcing a pattern of living below your potential. And every day that you reinforce that pattern, you continue to live in that pattern, where every day that you can catch it and say, being afraid is no longer a good enough reason for me not to act. That's when you start to make a shift. That's when you start to jump into your ideal life. That's when you start to become the person that you want to be, because everything that you want is on the other side of what you're afraid of. Think about your ideal life. Think about the life that you want for yourself, the life that you're trying to build for you, for your family, in your business. What do you want to create? If it doesn't have a healthy dose of fear, you have the wrong vision. Right? If it doesn't scare you what you're doing, then you hate your life. If you look at your calendar for the next month. If there's nothing in there that makes you scared, afraid, then you don't like your life, because you're just waking up, photocopying the same day over and over again, living Groundhog Day, maybe working for somebody that you hate, and just doing the same thing on repeat. And that's not what we want, because we want progress, because we want growth, because we want to feel like the work we do matters, because we want to feel like we are learning and adapting and growing and evolving. We want that. Otherwise, you're bored. And so that's that fine line, is you know you're capable of more, you know you want to do more, you know you've got the heart and the capacity and the love and the caring and the ambition to do more, but you're afraid, and so you don't. And so you're sitting in a car. I'm in my car. I'm not driving, Nina's driving. Hello, Nina.
Hello.
You're sitting in your car with your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, spinning your wheels, knowing that you're capable of more, but never actually going anywhere. This is the problem most people fall into, is because you're just afraid. And the bigger reason is you've accepted that fear is a good enough reason for you not to act. You've accepted, well, I'm afraid, and that's okay to then not do anything. And so it's definitely okay to be afraid. I think it's great. That means you're on the edge of something. That's fantastic. But it's not okay to then teach yourself, I'm afraid and therefore I don't do. The single greatest mindset shift I think you can make is to change it from I'm afraid and therefore I don't do, to I'm afraid and therefore I must. I'm afraid and therefore I must. I'm afraid and therefore I must. And so there's two easy ways to do this. This is what I use. I've seen it work for a lot of other people. It can definitely work for you. How do you make that mindset shift? 1, scary, difficult, or hard are trigger words. Scary, difficult, or hard. When I hear myself think it, when I write it out into a message, an email, a DM, when somebody hears me say it, when I'm talking in a conversation, I say scary, difficult, or hard as a reason for me not to do something. Evan, you should go do this. Oh yeah, I agree, but I'm scared up. Right? As soon as I say it, that means I have to do it. Caught it. Scary, difficult, or hard. Trigger words. They're not important enough reasons for you not to act. So that's when you can catch the language. That's a language one, right? Written or verbal or thought patterns is language. The second one is more physical. So if you're more a physical person, you'll feel it in your heart, right? If your heart's going boom, 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 right? Whenever you're nervous or afraid of something, what happens? Your heart starts beating. Your heart starts beating. If somebody asks you if you want to share your answer in front of the class, or be the volunteer, or share your opinion, or make a YouTube video, or whatever the thing is, and your heart's going boom, boom, boom like this, right? You feel it. You feel your heart beating fast. I call it the boom, boom, boom test. Then that's also go time. When you accept this as a reason for you not to act, then you never act. You never create the life that you want. It's got to be this to action. This means you go. This means you do. As long as it's not against your values, as long as it's, still in service of other people. Don't go rob a grocery store because you're scared to do it, right? But most of the things that we're afraid to do, most of the things that are scary, difficult, or hard, or giving us the boom, 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 right? Most of the things that do that are just, again, other people's opinions. You're just afraid of what people are going to think about you, say about you. And that's not a good enough reason. Not anymore. Not if you want to create something amazing. Not if you want to build that life for yourself. It just can't be an acceptable reason for you anymore. And that's what we have really come down to, where that's really scary. It's like, okay, yeah, it's too scary. And you've accepted it, and your friends have accepted it, and your family's accepted it. And so that becomes the ongoing loop that you create for yourself. And then you stay stuck knowing that you can do a lot more, but never taking action because you've accepted scary, difficult, or hard, or your heart beating like this, crazy, as a good enough reason for you not to act. And I want you to flip it. I want you to try to catch it. You're not going to catch it every time. You're probably actually barely going to catch it. It's such a default way of operating. For me, for you, for everybody. It's such a default way of operating. I've probably played small 10 times today already and never even noticed it because I didn't catch it. It's such a default way of operating that don't judge yourself for not catching it in the moment every single time. It's more when you do catch it. Your goal is to catch it once today. Catch it once today. Catch one time today when you're thinking. You could force it on yourself. What's the life that you want to build? What's the next goal that you have for yourself? And then what's the next immediate action that you have to take? Think of something. Think of an action that's been on your list for a while that you haven't done yet. Do you have one? Is it you thinking scary, difficult, or hard already for that thing that you say you want to do? Is your heart beating fast yet? The idea that you will have to do this today, right? When you do catch it, you find one thing per day, and then you do the thing. What happens is you start to change the pattern. You start to change the process. You start to change your identity. You start to become the person who does the scary things, who follows through on their word, who executes when it's scary, difficult, or hard. You start to change who you are. And when you change who you are, you change your behaviors and you change the outcomes that you get as a result. Everything you want in a life is on the other side of scary, difficult, or hard. You have to stop accepting those as reasons for you not to take action. Good luck. Now, I have a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, question of the day, I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And what is your plan of action that you're going to take this week to move that idea forward? When you specify what time, what place, how you're going to actually take action on your ideas, you got motivated, and you have your plan of action, you have a 91% chance of following through. That's what the data says. Whereas if you just get motivated, but never create your plan, never specify when you're gonna do it, your chances of following through are only 35%. I want you to get results. Now, when you also commit to other people, that's why I want you to put it in the comments below. When you vocalize it out loud and commit to other people, it increases your chances of following through even more. I want you to take action, not just watch videos here. So down in the comments below, tell me what your biggest takeaway was and your plan of action this week to make sure that it happens.
Hey, this is John Assaraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15, $20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece, and maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You are not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, rising star.
What I always tell people is this: you have to monitor your self-talk. Monitor your self-talk. If you go around tell people, oh, I have a horrible memory, I'm not smart enough, I'm getting too old, fill in the blank. First of all, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Does that make sense? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm so forgetful, I'm so busy, which that whole busyness really bothers me. Like where people, how are you doing? I'm just so crazy, so stressed, so busy. It becomes like a badge of honor that people wear all the time. And then what do you start reinforcing? Being busy, right? But here, going back to this, your self-talk is the program that will run, so you want to be mindful, right? And stand guard to your mind, because your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk.
If you want to change your life in the next 30 days for free, check out the link right here below me. Or if you want another awesome video from John Assaraf, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.